Hi, this is Helen from Jupiter's Realm. Welcome to another video. Now today I'm taking a look at the rising sign horoscopes for the upcoming 12-month transit of Jupiter through Cancer. This begins on the 9th of June 2025 and goes through to the 30th of June 2026. I'll be covering what Jupiter in Cancer means and where in your life you may see these topics and themes arising, according to what your rising sign is, along with some other important factors to keep in mind, so you can look out for opportunities and blessings and take advantage of them when they arise. A Jupiter in Cancer transit is a pretty nice transit to have on the whole. Jupiter's a benefic planet, meaning its significations tend towards beneficial or helpful experiences, events or outcomes. In Cancer, Jupiter's in its sign of exaltation, and this gives a boost to Jupiter's helpful potential. An exalted planet can indicate influence, honours, support and respect. Jupiter represents growth, fertility, abundance, knowledge, cohesion, fellowship and optimism, relief from burdens and the expanding of horizons and visions for the future. Cancer is well suited to Jupiter as it's also associated with fertility and nurturing as well, and so it supports Jupiter's principle of growth and unity. Here, Jupiter is able to freely express its expansive and abundant nature in a way that's stabilising, supportive and uplifting. Cancer is also associated with domestic matters, family and upbringing, with conception and belonging and memory, women and also the body. Now I have an article on my website which goes into what Jupiter in Cancer means in more detail, and so I'll leave a link in the description below if you'd like to check that out. So as we go through the horoscopes, keep in mind these themes of growth, expansion, opportunity, new beginnings and improvement. Now whilst this is generally seen as a positive transit, Jupiter is about amplification, and the shadow side of that is excess. A Jupiter transit can correlate with more of something, but what we do with that more is up to us. And if Jupiter is aspecting a planet in your chart that may be a bit technically challenged, for example in detriment or in fall, or with some aspects from Saturn or Mars, then you might see some experiences about excess or overdoing things coming up as well. So do keep that in mind. Something else worth mentioning is that Jupiter will make exact square aspects to Saturn and Neptune in June 2025. Jupiter makes a square with Saturn from the 15th to the 18th of June. So whilst there may be some positive improvements, rewards, opportunities for growth, this may be tempered by delays or a need for slowing down and being pragmatic and selective about growth and expansion and recognising the responsibilities and limitations involved, which may feel frustrating, but does offer the opportunity to take a realistic and grounded perspective about any goals for growth or what can be improved or for visions for the future, and to do just what's necessary rather than trying to do everything, and making sure there's a solid foundation in place to support future growth and well-being. You may need to have a patient approach to seeing benefits or growth coming through at this time, and a mature and responsible approach to any gains or successes that are made. Jupiter will square Neptune from the 19th to the 23rd of June, which could introduce an idealistic note with heightened emotional, compassionate or spiritual aspirations, and perhaps a slightly over-idealistic, over-optimistic outlook, or even a sense of emotional overwhelm. So particularly in June, it might feel like a bit of a push and pull and having to navigate and balance these contrary energies of Neptune and Saturn that are coming through as part of this Jupiter transit. So having some grounding activities to hand could be helpful, whilst also staying open to possibilities of what can develop and keeping optimistic about that. Before I start the horoscopes, I must also mention that a really important factor is that these horoscopes are general interpretations which may vary on a personal individual level depending on the setup of your own chart. For example, the sector of your chart, or if you have planets or angles in the Cancer house in your birth chart, and the condition of those planets by dignity and aspect, because this is what will personalise the Jupiter transit for you. So use these horoscopes as general potentials and a starting point of possibilities, keeping in mind that different people will experience slightly different manifestations of these general themes. Okay, so onto the horoscopes. For Aries Rising, Jupiter will be going through your 4th house of home and living circumstances, parents, land and heritage. So what you might see here is growth around the family and the home. For example, new family members coming into the home environment, or this could be the expansion or upgrading of your home in some way. For example, adding an extension or redecorating, making improvements around the home, or even moving to a larger home. You may feel like making it a more comfortable, protective and nurturing space, and focusing on creating or improving supportive, meaningful emotional bonds here. Nurturing what's really meaningful and what you really love and cherish in the home environment may be a really important theme that comes up for you during this time. If buying or selling land is relevant for you, there may be some opportunities around that, or ways to upgrade and improve existing land or buildings you're connected to. For Taurus Rising, Jupiter will be going through your third house, which, as well as being Cancer, is also the moon's joy. So we have strong lunar themes coming through here, which I mentioned at the start of the video. This is a house of mobility and routine travel, religion, with siblings, extended family, neighbours and the local community being relevant as well. And also education, writing, communication and media, sort of generally how you put your ideas out into the world. So your day-to-day routine journeys and travel or vehicles may be improving, or you could be expanding or improving your travel routines. It could be things like journeys becoming easier or more comfortable in some way, upgrading your car, or visiting more or different places on your routine routes. As a house of siblings, extended family like aunts or cousins, and neighbours and people you see on a day-to-day sort of community way, there could be some improvements around these types of relationships, or the desire or opportunity to feel more connected to these people in your life. Think about where you can find shared values and perspectives that can help strengthen emotional ties here. The moon is associated with the imaginative and the intuitive mind, and so if you're writing or sharing your ideas in some other way, you may be doing more of that. And it could be a really fertile time for developing writing, speaking or teaching skills, or for achieving some success in this area. If you've been wanting to do this but haven't yet, look out for opportunities to start doing this. Things may not flourish fully yet, but it could be the seeds of new beginnings for these kinds of activities. As one of the houses of education, it's a good time to upgrade skills or learning. Or if you're teaching, this could be a period where you're doing more of that in a way which feels meaningful or brings you rewards. If you have daily spiritual or religious devotional practices, you may find yourself embarking on new routines or wanting to improve what you're doing already. These practices may open up in new ways for you, providing insights or a sense of deeper connection to a bigger pattern in life that feels rewarding and fulfilling. For Gemini Rising, this puts Jupiter in your second house of finances, income, expenditure and assets. Jupiter here is a lovely indicator for the potential to improve your financial situation in some way, maybe even having a bit more money coming in, for example a pay rise, or through family money in some way, or some activity that generates some additional income. As a planet of expansion, Jupiter here can also show up as making big purchases or big expenditures. And perhaps that might have to do with creating a sense of stability or security for the future, and maybe around family or domestic life. If there's been some financial challenges recently, then Jupiter coming through here could indicate the opportunity for some improvements or solutions around that, which may help make the situation feel more manageable or easier for you, or freeing up some limitations around finances and creating a sense of a bit more stability or flexibility. For Cancer Rising, you're going to have Jupiter transiting your first house, which is about your personality, identity, body and vitality. It's a lovely indicator for improving your sense of well-being, your health and your sense of self. So be open to new or improved ways of caring for your mind, body and spirit. Ask yourself if you're feeling nourished and well, both physically and in your sense of self, and if you're in touch with your true authentic self and how you can express that more. You may feel like opening up or being more liberated or adventurous about who you are or how you express yourself or how you present yourself authentically to the world, physically or otherwise. So that could include things like changing how you look or how you communicate and connect with others, especially on an emotional or spiritual level. You may also be feeling more optimistic, generous, compassionate, or have a desire to connect with spiritual or religious topics and expand your mind or knowledge in a way that connects with who you are or who you want to be. If you've had challenges around any of that recently, Jupiter coming through here may open up some new ideas or possibilities for overcoming that, or at least making it feel less difficult. So do look out for that. For Leo Rising, Jupiter will be going through your 12th house. Now this house is the joy of Saturn, lending it some Saturnian themes. This house has an association with seclusion, with retreat, isolation, marginalisation, but also health matters, especially relating to mental health, as well as actions that undermine one's well-being. It's also the house of hardships and burdens in life. Jupiter here offers some hope or improvements around these topics, whether that's for yourself or if you're working with or engaged with these topics regarding other people. If there are any challenges going on around these topics, this could be a time where there's some mitigation to that, or being able to implement healing, care, protection, or find resources that help lighten that or help better manage the situation and helping it to feel less constrained or restrictive. These might not necessarily be big changes. Sometimes Jupiter indicates small seeds of improvement and growth being planted, so do look out for and be open to any small blessings that arise or opportunities to improve and nourish this area of life in a meaningful and uplifting way. Don't forget as well that with Cancer as the sign here, this could involve family or domestic matters. The 12th house is what's called a cadent house, and it's associated with liminal spaces, the subconscious, and also travel to faraway places. So you might find that these topics are coming up for exploration. You may be wanting to, for example, expand your horizons regarding to spirituality or other esoteric topics, maybe even in secluded settings or just on your own exploring these things, doing what you feel connects you to a greater sense of meaning in life or a greater pattern of existence. For Virgo Rising, Jupiter will be transiting your 11th house, and this is the joy of Jupiter as well. It's the house of friends and social groups and communities, and people that help you in your aspirations like patrons and supporters. So this part of life could be expanding for you over the next 12 months, or even just creating more of a sense of collaboration, harmony, togetherness, with shared values, interests, visions or ideals, and maybe making some new connections with people, making new friendships, or joining new groups or organisations, and which may bring a sense of belonging or purpose, or is just generally an uplifting and fruitful experience for you. It may involve meeting or mixing with people in positions of authority or that are well respected or influential. It may also involve topics of spirituality, knowledge, wisdom, or be tied to family circumstances or matters to do with women or health. Themes of generosity and compassion or charity in your social sphere and community and activities could play a part as well. This could be a really nice period to grow your social connections and to focus on developing ones which feel authentic and add value and meaning to your life, rather than ones that are superficial. For Libra Rising, Jupiter will be in your 10th house of career, public status or vocation. This house is about what you're known for doing in your public life, which can be your job, or even if you're doing something like being a homemaker or a caregiver. Jupiter here indicates some opportunities or growth in this sector of your life. This could be things like a promotion, a major new project coming up, or moving to a better job, getting some kind of recognition or elevated status in your work. Or you might be exploring the possibility of starting a new career and setting that in motion with optimism and enthusiasm for the potential involved. You may feel a desire to align what you do with a greater sense of meaning and value in your life, whereby it feels authentic and that you're doing something worthwhile or that has a positive impact in the world. Or there may be improvements to your work environment in some way. Maybe the work environment is getting an upgrade, becoming more comfortable, enjoyable or harmonious. Or you feel more job security or stability coming through. This could also be about improving your relationships in your work environment, developing connections or collaborations which have more of an emotional or caring component, or that there are developments and improvements related to someone that you respect or value in your work environment, or who is influential and which has a positive impact on what you do. For Scorpio Rising, Jupiter will be going through your 9th house of higher learning, international places or people, spirituality and religion. It's also the house of publishing and law and the joy of the sun. And the sun in traditional astrology is associated with mental perception, divine wisdom and authority. So over the next 12 months, you may feel inspired or have opportunities to expand your horizons whether that's mentally, physically or spiritually. For example, maybe you go back to school or learn a new subject or expand your existing knowledge of a topic in some way. Non-routine travel could be on the cards, making trips that you don't normally take, whether that's abroad or within your own country, or interacting with people from other countries. This could be tied to family or home, or feeling a sense of belonging in a community or family in some way. Another possibility is that your spiritual or religious life may be growing or improving. You may feel drawn to exploring those more deeply to find a sense of meaning and connection to some larger pattern of existence or to the divine, whatever it is that you believe. If you don't currently have a spiritual or religious life, then this might take root this year. Now, any of these possibilities might serve to bring you inspiration, optimism, enthusiasm in a meaningful and supportive way. Note also that Jupiter, whilst in Cancer, will at some point over the next year make an exact trine to your ascendant point, which could mean that your own personal growth and sense of self, your confidence and well-being, may be tied into what's happening to your 9th house under this Jupiter transit. For Sagittarius Rising, Jupiter will be going through your 8th house. This is one of the houses representing finances and assets, the other one being the 2nd house, but the 8th house is about shared resources, especially resources or finances to do with partnerships. Now that can be romantic or otherwise, because this is the 2nd house from the 7th house, and the 7th house represents your romantic and business partnerships or one-to-one client type of relationships. The 8th house is about financial obligations and contracts, so things like debts, taxes, insurance, mortgages, things like that. End-of-life matters, including inheritances, as well as fears, anxieties and penalties, are also represented here. So Jupiter here can indicate some opportunities or some blessings coming through for improving or growing this part of life, especially if it's been challenging recently with Mars going through here. The sort of things that can arise are, for example, your partner starting to earn more money, or an improvement financially in a business relationship, or perhaps gaining some benefits, finances or grants from an external source rather than through what you generate with your own efforts through your own job or work. Sometimes it can be small things that come up that might seem insignificant at the time, but if you really take advantage of them, they could be fruitful or helpful in the long run. So do keep an open mind to possibilities and to any help offered or solutions, new strategies or approaches to finances here that come up. For end-of-life matters and for fears and anxieties, there's a potential for some relief, release or easing around that, or some healing and an improved sense of well-being. Stay open to inspiration, acts of generosity or compassion. These may help guide you in the right direction. If you're engaging with any of these 8th house topics on other people's behalf, this could be a time where you're seeing some successes, recognition or fortunate results from that, or where that's expanding, or an opening up of new possibilities for the future. For Capricorn Rising, Jupiter will be going through your 7th house. This is your house of partnership, and this can be romantic partners and marriage, but also business partnerships or one-to-one client types of relationships. With Cancer being in a water sign and Jupiter symbolising unity and cohesion, there's a really nice opportunity here to develop some meaningful connections or to stabilise existing bonds or to lay the groundwork to develop that. So for you, this next 12-month period could be a period where, if you're in a romantic partnership, there's an improvement or a sense of meaningful growth in a relationship with emotional and spiritual connection and sharing, stabilising these bonds, and the potential for increased care, empathy and compassion developing. If you're not in a business or romantic relationship, there's a possibility of meeting someone new and starting a new relationship, which may have the potential to be meaningful and to grow and blossom in the future in a really beautiful or fruitful way. If you're in a business relationship, this could be taking that business partnership to a new productive or successful level. With Jupiter being exalted here, this could point to the type of people involved being very well respected, well loved or influential. So do take advantage of any opportunities to make some positive connections, even if they don't seem very important to you yet. Keeping in mind to make sure that relationships feel meaningful and that there's mutual empathy, nurture and care expressed in them, because that will really help them to grow going forward. For Aquarius Rising, Jupiter will be transiting your 6th house of everyday routine work, toil and labour, servitude, employees and subordinates, but also physical illness, accidents, injuries and small animals or pets. So Jupiter coming through here in terms of health and wellness may correlate with some mitigations, some resources or assistance to improve physical care or physical well-being. Think about how you can enhance your health, what strategies, activities or new approaches you can do that can really improve your sense of well-being and nourishment and health and vitality, or for other people that you might be caring for. Stay open to inspiration, small blessings or gifts or opportunities to start to generate improvements in this area of life. In terms of routine work, chores and tasks, and the sort of daily grind kind of thing, there may be some easing of that or a feeling of optimism or improvement about the situation. If you have employees or employed contractors, for example, this could be an area of expansion, for example, taking on more staff or increasing contracts. It will be important to ensure that these relationships are nurtured and approached with an attitude of care to get the most out of them. You may also feel like you want to bring a sense of more meaning and enrichment from what you're doing, or that what you're doing is worthwhile and has a point in the grander scheme of things. So look out for any small or large changes that you can make to improve the environment around you or how you feel in the day-to-day. Try and find ways to bring a bit more joy in. Be mindful also about taking on more work or chores and really figure out if it would be beneficial or would just lead to overstrain or overwork. If you have pets or are involved with animals, Jupiter here can indicate more animals coming into your life in some way, or that there's some improvement around the well-being of pets. This may be related to the health of pets, or it could also be about pets having more babies. For Pisces Rising, Jupiter will be in your 5th house, which is the house of things that you give birth to, and this includes children. So we have children represented here, but also creative output. As the house that's the joy of Venus, it also represents leisure and pleasure pursuits, romance and sex. With Jupiter here, you might be wanting to bring more of these into your life or to find more fulfillment and meaning through them over the next 12 months. There could be more children coming into your life or the theme of children in a general way expanding for you, with improvements or fortunate outcomes. As this is a very fertile sign, and with Jupiter representing fertility, and the 5th house being associated with children, for some people, if you're wanting to start a family, it could happen during this period. If you have children, then this next year might yield some positive growth for them, of their well-being and their development, or they may have some helpful or positive experiences coming through. If you've got any creative pursuits that you're doing, this can be a really fertile time to engage with your imagination and creativity and explore and expand that side of life. Allow yourself to be free to try new things and to have new experiences that enhance your emotional or spiritual well-being. For some people, activities with family or loved ones might feel really meaningful during this time, or activities that incorporate intuition, dreams, memories or legacy. Take the time to ensure that you have activities that you really enjoy doing in your life that uplift you and feel fun and enriching. Spending time with family or in community where you feel comfortable and where you feel that you belong might be really rewarding as well. For the singles out there, another possibility is for a new romance to blossom under this transit. Or if you're in a relationship, for affirming, exploring or expanding your sensuality and sexual experiences in a positive way. So I hope you found that helpful. If you have any comments or thoughts about your rising sign horoscope here and about the transit of Jupiter through Cancer, please do leave them below. I'd love to hear from you. Till next time then, bye for now.